Hi, it's Glen Scrivener from Speak Life, and we're doing Reading Between the Lines. Through the Bible, a phrase each day. And we began with in the beginning, and then we thought about let there be light, and then there was the image of God. And today we've got another phrase for you. If you want to keep journeying with us through the Bible, then please do subscribe to our YouTube channel or like us on Facebook. We are Speak Life UK. That's where you'll find our page. Like us there and you'll get daily updates as we travel through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Today's phrase though is be fruitful and multiply, and it's from Genesis chapter 1, and I'm going to read from verse 28. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth and all the birds in the sky and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And it was so. Be fruitful and increase in number, or be fruitful and multiply as it's more popularly known. From this phrase, I think we can get three things. We can get who is the good God, how do we live the good life, and what is the good news. First of all, who is the good God? It's very interesting. Yesterday we thought about God being, or us being in God's image. And then the next thing he tells us is, well, why don't you be fruitful and multiply? It's this idea that there is a loving union, Father, Son and Holy Spirit, and out of their loving union was an incredible amount of creativity. And then God says to us, he says, oh, you're in my image, so now out of your loving union, why don't you be creative? Why don't you make life? And so actually the first thing we learn when we learn about be fruitful and multiply is that actually that is first and originally what God's life is like. Out of loving union, he creates all that he does. So of course, we who are in God's image should be like that. So the first thing we learn is what God's like. Second thing we learn is how do you live the good life? I don't know about you, but when I think about getting stuff done, I think in terms of being a bricklayer. You know, you just lay brick upon brick upon brick upon brick, and it's hard work. And when you get to the end of it, it is basically the sum of its parts if you've done your job right. Or I think in terms of plate spinning. You've ever seen a plate spinner at the circus? You know, they've got those long thin rods and then you spin the plate on the top and then you spin another one, then you spin another one, but that one stopped and it started to wobble, and so you need to keep it spinning, and then that one's starting to wobble, so you need to keep it spinning, and you just go back and forward between all these wobbling plates trying to keep the show on the road. Is that what it is to make stuff happen in life? Well, this verse tells you no. Whatever is worth anything in this world, it is actually the fruit of loving union. You see, when God says to Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply, he's not just talking about baby making. He's actually talking about subduing the earth and filling it. It's not just about baby making. It's about actually building civilization, doing amazing creative stuff in this world. All the stuff that really matters is birthed out of loving union. Not just the manufacture model of laying brick upon brick, not just the plate spinning of just being very, very busy. You know how you get stuff done that lasts, that is worth something in this world? Through loving union. Through pouring yourself into another person or a community of people. And out of that relationship comes stuff that is hard won, and there's gradual results, but in the end it'll be exponential, it'll be incredibly fruitful. How do you live the good life? You invest in people, you pour yourself into people. Through loving union, the really important stuff gets done in life. The third thing we learn, not just who is the good God, not just how do you live the good life, but also the third thing you learn is what is the good news. Because isn't it interesting the way that Adam and Eve are described like trees here? Be fruitful and multiply. You know, all throughout Genesis chapter 1 we've been introduced to all these plants that produce fruit with seed in it. And then Adam and Eve come along and they're told to produce fruit. They're told to be fruitful. What are they? Trees? Are they plants? What are they, like a vine or something? Humanity is like a crop, actually. But the trouble is, crops reproduce according to their kinds. That's a big teaching in Genesis chapter 1. And a big teaching of Genesis chapter 3 is that our crop has gone wrong. And so we have been born into the kind that Adam is. Flesh gives birth to flesh, as Jesus said. And that means we've come into Adam's kind of humanity, Adam's kind of crop. In Matthew chapter 7, Jesus says, looking for goodness on the children of Adam is a bit like trying to find grapes on thorn bushes or trying to find figs on thistles. We just don't produce good fruit. We're part of a bad crop. But here's the good news. The good news is that Jesus Christ has come as the true vine, the true plant, the truly fruitful one, always in connection with God his Father, always filled with the nourishing sap of his Spirit. And his message to us is, come to me, get grafted into me. Perhaps you can read John 15 later, that you can read about how we are meant to make our home in Jesus, and Jesus makes his home in us. In that way, we will bear much fruit. So then, what is today all about? Today is all about knowing this good God. Today is all about living the good life of pouring yourself into others. Today is all about the good news, knowing that though in ourselves we produce only thorns and thistles, but in him we can truly be fruitful and multiply.